You're not. Sorry.
Joel doesn't get a show and tell. Joel doesn't do cool stuff. Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. My name's Ben. We're here to talk about shooting. On deck today, Mr. Kim.
Hello.
Mr. Hopkins.
Hi.
Mr. Park.
Hello.
All the fun people are here. You guys know the deal. Everybody comes here with a topic, something fun to talk about, and we we do our thing. So, who'd like to go first today? Are you gonna make me go first? Is that what you want to do?
Showing his.
Yeah.
I can go.
Mr. Kim. All right. So you have a show and tell, is my understanding?
Yes. You are. If you are a video audience, you may be seeing this sexy and extra yellow. Yes. I'll stop there. Extra yellow. Okay. So what I'm wearing is.
Christ. We're like a minute into this thing. We're going racial already.
No, I wasn't talking about person you're looking at, the object you're looking. So I am holding a Rudy Project Retina, which I was wearing pretty much since I started shooting 2014. But I tried the Hunter's HD Gold 2 years back. I really liked how the lens brightens a lot of things, especially in a darker lighting, especially in Washington State, cloudy, raining all the time. It brightens up the brown targets. So it really was good. But I used it a couple months and it didn't really fit my facial structure, being a nice looking K-pop star here. So I went
Dude, your
back
hair game is on point lately. Can I tell you that?
Yes, I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare, picking up all the humors.
You said your hair was good.
Your hair was on point, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Dr. D. I've been growing it. Did not have a haircut.
Longer hair is just going to be better for you, I think, as a life decision.
Yes.
These other two guys basically shave their heads every 2 weeks. It's weird.
No, I do shave my head every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
No guard.
I know.
Okay. So I was wearing Rudy because of the facial shape. It really surrounds my eye area too very well. And the most important thing to me was actually the prescription insert. I cannot use lenses that has big curvature due to my bad eyesight because I get super bad refraction. The object is no longer there basically the object is not there where I am seeing it because of the refraction is so great on the side of the goggle. So I had no choice but to use Rudy. However, I asked Brian last year, and then he now finally made the insert for the goggle or the Rudy Project substitution glasses for Hunter's HD color. So I can now use Hunter's HD lens on I don't know if it's any Rudy Project models, but at least the Retina model, which is a lot of the shooters use, you can get them for your Rudy. I've been really liking it. They change color, they get darker in a lighter condition. If you come indoors or darker lighting condition, it brightens up. So even at I tried at 9 p.m. recently where the sun is almost gone. I could still see the target pretty bright, even the sun was gone. So I really liked it.
Yep. So I'm going to piggyback on his also. So I had my ride-ons done in Hunter's HD Gold also, but he was able to cut my prescription into it. This is about as bad as they can be. But
okay, guys, hold on. What's the process to get this done, by the way?
Beforehand, you had to get it to him and get your prescription done.
What do you mean, get what to him? Get what
you had
to
to give your frames to him.
To the Hunter's HD Gold dude,
yeah,
Brian?
And then he would have them made and shipped and everything. But now I think he streamlined it where you could do the ordering online, and I think he still sends your frames in so they could fit them. But it's way more streamlined now. You don't have to see them at a match first. You could just do it off the internet.
It's a bit expensive, I'm guessing, as the RX sport glasses tend to be.
RX anything is very expensive.
Yeah.
And the last set I had of Rudy, they had them cut into lenses too. They lasted 3 years. So
what was the turnaround on this?
I gave it was about a month, I think, on mine. I gave them at SHOT Show, and I had them back at the end of February at the latest. I think it was actually a little faster than that.
I'm not trying to advertise necessarily for anybody, but I should also say a lot of people use their HSAs to get these.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility also. But I'm really happy. I want to mimic and just go back and say the exact same thing Kim did. I actually shot till it was too dark, like C, when I was not shooting the HD gold ones. Like it extended my ability to shoot at night. I don't know how good that is, or like you could just see
It's
better.
good. We do a lot of night matches.
Dude, no kidding.
Yes.
Yes.
I like it. Yeah,
I
just
shoot
having.
them. I shoot them indoor. Do it during dry fire, indoor shooting, everything. So
So Hunters, HD Gold, both you guys like working it over, like tag teaming it.
that's right. Tag
Pretty
teams
proud.
back again.
All right, but if you're both happy, that's good. And a lot of people like those lenses a lot. So this is a good option. I also have a product I'm going to talk about, guys, and it's not a product that I sell. It's just a product. It's just a thing. So here it is.
Oh,
So
boy.
hold on. Now, what I'm holding in my hot little hands here is a race holster, which, Matt, you've known me a long fucking time, I think, longer than anybody else on here.
Yeah.
Do I like race holsters?
No, you've never used one.
I've never used one. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say I've used them. Like I've possessed them and used them
But
occasionally.
you've never used them when you had the opportunity. Like if you're going to shoot an IPSC match and you could, even if you had the equipment.
So I don't really like race holsters. I think that they're complicated. They're expensive. They're sort of. I don't even like the aesthetic. Like you look at it and it's like that just looks goofy to me. It looks like a toy.
It looks unsafe.
It looks. It's not unsafe, but they look.
It looks
unsafe
unsafe as hell.
Yeah, if you don't know what you're looking at, it does look kind of unsafe, doesn't it?
100%
You're just like, oh, that's like retaining that gun. Like that just it seems like not that much. It's just holding onto the trigger guard, or maybe it's got the muzzle cup or whatever. But it's
Yeah, you
I just
turn a
don't-
little hard, that thing's gonna fly out of there.
right. And I've always it's a very minimal advantage you get in terms of draw speed and efficacy in exchange for a lot of expense and complication. It's just like. I mean, by complication, I just mean the ways that you have to adjust the things, you get them set up just right, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I understand they're not that bad. It's just, it's not anything I've ever wanted to deal with. But because I wanted to put, well, I should say this. I'm kind of testing the weights, the muzzle weights on the Tinfolios. This necessitates either a race holster or having a custom-made Kydex job for my limited guns. So now I just have to pick like the lesser of two kind of stupid evils, right? So I decided to get a race holster. Okay, so we're just like walking you guys down with me. Like, okay, I need a race holster. I didn't need just one race holster. I need two because one of anything you care to mention doesn't really usually do me a whole lot of good. I need to get two of them. So I was in Finland, the home of the SL3 race holsters, which. This is a brand that you probably haven't heard of a whole lot. I don't actually know where you could buy this. I didn't go through an online cart to buy it. I talked to a dude who knew a dude that would give me the stuff. And then a little while later, the holsters showed up. You know what I mean? I paid for them. I had to buy them, but I don't know where you would buy these things first. They have been sold in the US and maybe still are. They're sold at Universal, I think. I think they imported some and sold them under a different brand name at some point, but I think not as many options for the guns. So I have this Finnish SL3 holster set up for Tinfolios. That's what I've got. That's what I'm holding here. You guys with me so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so what we have here is. I mean, it is a race holster. It functions well. The locking mechanism is a lever that you push down to lock. Right, so push down on a lever here. I know that the audio rip guys aren't seeing this a whole too well, but it's just a normal looking race holster that locks onto the trigger guard. It has a lever on it that is the lock, and Yeah, there you go. What I like about this holster is the mechanism for release is like this little ball, and there's a couple of roller magnets on it. So it's a nice smooth release out of the holster. I'll hold it right by my microphone and pull it out. You can't even really hear it. It just slides right out of the holster nice and easily, but it's very stable, and it seems like it'd be difficult to knock the gun out of there by accident. So with the holster unlocked, I can push on the butt of the gun, push on the front. You can't really knock it out of there very easily. So it's a stable and good enough retention with a sensible locking lever on there, and then lots of different ways to adjust it. So it's a nice holster, these SL3s. I understand why, I guess probably Frank imported a bunch to Universal to sell there. I mean, it makes sense to me. It seems pretty good. The only real complaint I have with it is the same complaint that you might have with a Boss holster hanger, which is it's got a long metal rod. Instead of a flat, I don't have a Boss here with me, but the Boss holsters have a long metal piece that's going to be right next to your hip. And if you find that annoying, you would find the SL3 annoying. If you don't find the Boss holster annoying, you won't find the SL3 annoying, which is I use the Boss holsters and they don't annoy me. So the SL3s are good to go and they don't annoy me. That's my spiel. Do you have any questions?
So I have a question. Are you
Yes.
going to continue after you test the different weights when you decide on one? Or if you continue with the weights?
Right now, it looks like the weights are going to stay on the limited guns. I don't have enough weights to go around for all my GATs, but that doesn't really matter. But yeah, I'll use the SL3. Now, here's an interesting question. If I didn't have the weights on there, would I use this holster?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Like, would you go back to Kydex or kind of bucket style once you decide on a weight?
I think I would. I think I'd go back to Kydex. I mean, the reason is just because all my other stuff's Kydex. And the Kydex holster that fits the limited guns also fits my stock 2s.
Oh,
So
that's really convenient.
Yeah, it's super. And the pouches, the mag pouches are the same. I've been living on Easy Street for a while, so yeah, having everything play nicely together is cool. But this race holster also fits my stock 2s.
Oh.
Oh.
So you could go straight all race holster.
I could, if I
That'd
wanted
be
to.
interesting. If you wanted to, yeah.
Would it be though? I mean, I don't know.
Well, you can't do it in production, but USPSA.
IPSC production I could, but
yeah.
I don't really see the point.
Not that I don't care about your holster, but has training with that taught you anything about your draw or changed anything?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't think so. I was just curious.
I haven't seen any time difference really. It's just.
Or the way you grip the holster, like the way you grip the gun or draw, all the same, I'm assuming.
No, it's basically the same shit.
Okay.
This is like a race holster is just a more complicated, expensive way to get you to the same place.
How about the weight? Is it lighter than the Kydex or heavier? Probably heavier, right?
It's maybe heavier. It's pretty negligible difference.
Okay.
Not compared to what a gun weighs in there, right?
Not compared to that, no. Yeah, but I would say like practicing with the race holster, I don't necessarily love it because I have to remember to lock the thing sometimes like when I'm done shooting, and then I have to remember to unlock it. I find it's all exhausting to me.
It's like dealing with the mags and carry optics. You gotta fucking clean them, change the springs, all that bullshit. Compared to production, you just load them up and go.
Yeah, good call on that. Let's go to 140s, guys. Good call. Okay, let's move on. Joel, what
I
do you
want
got?
to say something, but I'm not gonna.
Say it. Come on,
Please do
man.
that. We want to hear.
Quit blue balling everybody. People
Joel,
want to
it's
hear
your
your
turn.
spicy bullshit.
All right, he's not doing it.
Suck, man. You're bad friend.
Well, I'm pretty boring, I guess. I don't have anything exciting to show off or show and tell. My dry training, I don't know, the last probably 3 weeks. With working at home, I mean, I find time to train at least every day, maybe a couple times a day, maybe before or after work, whatever. But I'm doing, I would say grip really is the thing I focused on the most because I think it's so important. And then I almost do a pass or fail on drills. So even if I have a par time and I'm exceeding the par time for whatever, I don't care whatever it is. It could be, moving around or, draw and smash some targets, load, smash some targets, whatever. It's just like assessing my grip throughout everything I do. It's like when I draw the gun and my sport hand comes on, is that really the way I want to shoot that if I was shooting live ammo? Is it perfect? It's like, yeah, that would probably get the job done, but is it really perfect? And then the same thing, if I load the gun, getting my support hand right back on like the exact spot I want. And I've been super critical of that, even if it would still be okay, especially close, fast shooting where, yeah, you'd still be, fine, whatever. But I've spent a lot of time, that and vision that I was talking about. And I don't know, I feel like I've got a lot out of it. Just being super sensitive, whereas before it would be maybe good enough and I would still have good results on target. I don't know. I think grip's super important anyway. But being super cautious about that in dry fire and super aware of any little like hiccup or any little like not being exactly where I want it is good. So I think my grip is getting better because of it. So anyway.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I do in my dry fire is like I don't draw right away or go into drills right away. I actually, get my gun out of safe or my gun bag, and I actually point it at the wall, feeling those grip tensions and position of the fingers and stuff. That's the same process in the safety table when I go to matches. I get my gun out of the table and then grip it again and then just point it, check the red dot, and then grip pressure, finger positions, and then start drawing or running. Yeah. Oftentimes.
Well, then I even do the same thing, kind of like that type of an assessing before I holster the gun. So if I draw the gun and I shoot some nonsense, dry, load the gun, whatever, and then like before I kind of bring the gun off the last target, I just leave it pointed at the last target, and I just kind of look at my grip or think about it. It's like, am I really, gripping as hard as I should be with my support hand? Is my firing hand tensed up too much? And kind of almost a pass or fail. Like, is this okay or not? How could it be better? And so I think for me personally, I do the same thing with movement, where if I'm moving from spot to spot, after I shoot the last shot, I kind of just stand there and I'm like, knees bent, feet shoulder width apart, my weight bias one way or the other. But I kind of like doing that thing where I assess the drill before I even move my feet away or I even bring the gun down. I just kind of like freeze frame exactly what I'm doing and just kind of look around like, is this pass or fail? Is this what I want?
I tell so many people to do that. Like, I feel
Really?
like in every class I tell that.
Really?
Yes.
I like that a lot.
Well, so many people just do a dry fire repetition of a thing and then put the gun away and then do the thing again, and they never stop themselves and be like, hold on, like, let's think through this. Like, is this what I want or is it not? What correction? They don't take even a second to think about it. It makes no sense to me.
I don't remember if I heard it from you or where I learned it from. I started doing it when I would like stand up at the end of every position. So I'd run to some spot, I'd come in low, and then ended up standing up at the end as I'm shooting stuff. And so I ended up getting where I'd go to the position, I'd shoot stuff, and then I had to just look down. Are my knees still bent? Have I stood straight up? And that was kind of when I started doing it, because then it made me more aware of like issues that I was doing. So
Absolutely. Gentlemen, how do you feel about doing a question?
Love to.
I have
great.
a show and tell.
When weren't you talking about you weren't on the glasses train?
Well, I guess I can count unless you want me to.
No.
I can save this one.
No. I want to hear what Matt has to say.
All right, so I have a new timer. I have the AMG Lab timer.
Oh.
Tell us more.
So I got this, I think, in January. So I've been playing with it, using it in dry fire, using it at matches, using it at practice. And so I guess a big thing on this one, it Bluetooths to the tablet. So it pulls all your split times in, your draws, your reloads, all that in, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought it'd be cool to do it like, I could use this in practice, then put in the targets and then see kind of like break stuff down every time. Like, so I have the actual full drill, know all the splits and all the...
Oh my God.
What? So one thing I've learned is the app they have right now is not good enough for that. It's too slow and not kind of intuitive enough. I actually went back to the blue pack timers or whatever they are for practice and just kind of wrote notes down. So, but I think they're very good in matches. So you can see, kind of compare your times to other people after the fact. And they have charts in practice score where it charts like the two people that you do. So like if I'm on there and another shooter, like it tells the different times, like where they are in the stage. So you see where you gain time, lost time, all that stuff. I think these have a huge impact and should always be used at major matches.
Hold on, say that again.
I think these should be mandated to be used at every major match.
So I've got more questions. It's Bluetooth, right?
Yes.
Do you have to have a certain type of tablet? Does it have to be like iOS or Android? Does it matter? Or I'm sorry if I'm asking you questions you don't know the answer to.
I don't think it matters. We've used them on Amazon Fire tablets and they work fine. We've used them on an iPad, it works fine. So I think it should work fine on anything. You got to have one of the last 2 updates from Practice Score though to get it to work.
So what's the hang up in the software? Is it the timer software that's shitty, or is it like Practice Score?
Well,
it sounds like it's the timer software shitty.
For what? Practice?
For practice, yeah.
It just didn't work like I had envisioned it. Like, I think they've only done 1 release on it, so they haven't had a lot of updates on it.
Is this an expensive timer?
It's $160, so it's a little more expensive than the others.
But it gets Bluetooth functionality?
Yeah, I think it's a must-have for clubs, to be honest with you. Just, I think it's gonna change how people or what their next like expectation in matches are.
Well, so we already have we can pull from video times.
Yeah, but you don't have to have the video and buy another app for that. Like, if your club is gonna buy new timers, I would suggest doing this one.
Are they easy to set up? If somebody's not good with technology,
dude, they're super simple.
Matt, you gave me a very lukewarm sales pitch. I would say maybe like, don't buy this, and then you're like, I think this should be mandated for every major match. So I'm just trying to catch up. I'm just trying to square the circle.
They don't really make a lot of sense for that. So they have other cool features. So they have a menu in here. There's 5 different presets. So you could do a dry fire preset as dry fire 1. It actually picks up a lot of the dry fires. It picks up double action, like single action hammer falls. It hadn't picked up my striker fire trigger break, and then you could do like an airsoft setting if you have airsoft, and then a rimfire setting if you had a rimfire, and a PCC setting if you had a PCC, all that jazz. They have different volumes on it, so they have 3 different volumes. It runs on AAA batteries, so you don't have to worry about a charger, which is the problem with the CD7000. You got to charge it up every time. All that bullshit. You just have to throw new batteries in this, good to go. It has sensitivity settings. I just used 1 set of batteries. I haven't had any changes yet. Some people have reported like using it for a year without changing. I haven't had it that long, so I don't know. So settings, it has instant or delay. You could set the random or fixed par times on it. You can put more than 1 par time, so you could put like 3 different beeps. And that's not super useful for us, but when I was doing the SASP training with the kids Steel Challenge sort of stuff, it's good to teach them to go like, so you give them beeps and they know to like transition the gun then. So it's like training them with like to hit a time without actually like being super intuitive for the person to do it. So it has echo, volume, that's about it. I don't know. I think the app could be a lot better, and it could be super useful. I guess how geeky you get down into it, like it does track all your stuff, but you have to go in there and break it down after the fact. You can't do like, oh, I'm going to go shoot El Prez and then doubles, and then I'm going to go shoot 4 aces, like all this on the practice and go in there and set it up pre-hand. You have to do that after the fact.
Has training with it taught you anything at all? Sorry, I didn't mean to take away from the
So at the end of last year, one of the big things I took away from where I'm aiming on a target to get like the A's versus like center of brown,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway I took from it last year. This was at a match, Fall Classic last year. They had it on one stage, and I was shooting against another shooter, and I was like, how did he beat me there? And I looked back on it. They had this timer. I could see the different times and where the shots. I had both sets of video also, so it was very helpful there.
Would you have needed the stuff? Would you have needed the time data with the video? Or so I assume no, you wouldn't need it.
I did need the video if I had the time data. I saw it without the video.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Very interesting, sir. Well, Matt,
I look
should
forward
we take
to it.
a question?
Yeah, I hope they develop the app a little better and see that fully out, but we'll see.
All right. Ben, a year and a half ago, I tore my retina in 2 spots in my right eye. This is dominant eye. He put it in parentheses. And I'm right-handed. I don't know what a retina tear involves, but it sounds pretty fucking miserable.
Mm-hmm.
I regained my vision back. However, I lost most of my nearsighted vision in that eye, and now my left eye seems to take over reading and doing anything within arm's reach. I have to close my left eye completely to eliminate cross vision on the front sight. Now, as I look at the front sight with my right eye, it is blurry and almost impossible to track when in live fire. I'm still working with getting my prescription on my shooting glasses dialed in, but they're as close as I'll get. Do I give up on the right eye and switch to my left eye, or just go dot?
I feel like this is a question for Professor Kim.
Yeah, I had something similar experience in my shooting career. But bottom line is that you need it's gonna take time to train your brain. So what happened to me personally was when I started shooting, well, first I was born with very bad eyesight. I have very bad astigmatism, and I cannot even get the LASIK surgery due to eye complication. So there was, for me, no choice except to shoot with what I got. When I first shot iron sights, I didn't know how to shoot front sight focus at the time, and I was keep shooting. My accuracy was bad, and then somebody was telling me, "Hey, you need to really stop the gun and see the front sight." And I was trying to see the front sight, and it was never ever sharp. I was not able to see a clear edges of the front sight. So I went to the doctor, or actually I heard from one of the older shooter in the region. He was telling, "Hey, you should visit this doctor in Seattle." She helped me out with a reading prescription on the right side of my eye, dominant eye, and the other side is going to be typical living life glasses. So I went to the doctor, and she helped me out with the new prescription that my dominant eye now has closer focal depth, so I can see the closer distance sharp, but not the further distance. My left eye became regular one. I can see farther distance, but not close distance. So I'm right eye dominant. When I first started shooting with that glasses, I had no idea how to change the focal depth very efficiently. And then I trained for about 3 months to use my right eye to see the close distance and left eye to see the further distance. So after that, when I have that prescription, when I do eye dominance test, when I have the focal depth close to the front sight, it goes to my right eye. And when I see the further distance, like a target, it goes to my left eye. My eye dominance shifts every single time, depends on the focal depth distance. So it took me about 2 months, if I remember accurately, about 2 months that I feel very comfortable doing that. The first month, I had to go process of closing one eye to force myself to see the front sight. And then sometimes if I'm doing a further target transitions, then I am closing the other eye to see the further distance. I did that process for a while to teach my brain. So if he wants to really go back to right eye shooting, and you have, I think you have time now with this situation, you can definitely experiment like closing one eye and opening one eye to do certain things for a while to retrain your brain. After about 2 months for me, it was just all natural. I didn't have to think about it. But one of the reasons why I changed to red dot was because I don't need that prescription. I can just wear any glasses, go to the shooting range, not having my prescription eye set, and shooting normal with the red dot. That's the benefit for me, and that's one of the reasons why I changed to red dot. It's not like I'm recommending him to go to the red dot. Just try both. Whatever is more fun for you, you should stick with it.
Yeah, from reading his question, 2 things jumped out at me. Number one, I'm not sure how the dot would really just fix this situation for him. I don't see that happening, right? He's still going to have a problem.
Yeah, he's going to have to pick.
Yeah. And the other thing is there might be age issues on top of that. So if he's over age 40, he's got he's going to start getting issues anyway. I don't know his age. So
The
I don't
focal
know.
change. That's all.
Yes.
That's what I took away from it. That he can't change focus between near and far.
Right. I mean, but that happens with age anyway. So it's
Yeah,
kinda
no
like,
matter who you are. Yeah.
whatever. Okay. Well, Miss Professor Kim, that's very helpful.
Mhm.
I think
Thank you.
if you guys want, we can do another question if you're feeling it.
I got time.
Hi Ben, I'm a B class limited shooter and have been shooting USPSA for about 6 months now. I'm learning as much as I can. And lately I've been focusing on training my eyes to see the sights and make accurate shot calls. Any tips on that would be great. But my question is, how do you call shots using target focus? You mentioned that you only use target focus when shooting, so I was curious how you do that. Thank you for your time. Okay, so there's a few things that I'll address here to make sure that we're on the same page. And then you guys can add in whatever you want. So number one, shot calling. For me, it's kind of like knowing where shots went to the greatest extent I possibly can, knowing where they are going as I'm shooting them. So where you're focused, like if I'm focused on the target but still seeing my sights, I can use my sights to call shots. I mean, target focused means the target appears clear and the sights appear blurry. That's all that means. It doesn't mean you're not using your sights. It doesn't mean you can't see your sights. That's one thing. So I still see my sights shooting target focused. They're not sharp and clear. And I actually find it easier to call shots target focused. I mean, if you actually try it, kind of get into it, it's not like it's harder. I think it's likely easier. And then the tip I would give you is that you don't just have to call shots visually. A lot of times, especially early on when you're starting, if you've only been shooting for 6 months, you'll a lot of times be calling bad shots by feel. So you'll feel yourself push into the gun and dip a shot, or you'll feel yourself pull off of a target early before you should have, and maybe shoot an edge hit on the target or shoot a miss. And you're going to be understanding where shots are going just by feel of your arms and your hands. So I don't know. That's what I got to say about that. So just try to take that on board. Anybody have stuff to add to that?
I was going to talk about feel. So of course, you knocked it out of the park, Ben. You left nothing left.
That's what I do, man.
The rest of us. But yes, like where you watch somebody shoot a stage, where they shoot a shot and instantly they just lower the gun, they kind of shake their head like, oh man, that sucked. Like you get that when you practice, like what Ben's saying, you shoot enough, when that shot breaks, whether it's your vision, your hands, your muscles, your shoulders, whatever, you pay attention, you'll know instantly when that gun fires, hey, that was a good one, or nope. Maybe you don't know specifically what it was, but something didn't happen quite right.
Well, I'll run something by you guys because I had an interesting conversation with the student after a class a few months ago, and he said, "Hey Ben, just took this class. It's great, whatever. But there's one thing I never heard words I never heard come out of your mouth, and that was shot calling." And he's right. The guy did 4 days of classes, a fundamentals class. He did a skills and drills class after that. Never heard me use the term shot calling, and he wanted me to explain that. So my explanation would be. Shot calling, as far as I understand it, would be knowing where shots are going as you're shooting them, like I just said. And really, if you kind of expand that, like zoom out from that concept, it's like you're shooting the gun and you understand or know what's happening as it's happening. Like it's never a mystery to you, or hopefully it's not a mystery. Why, if you're shooting and like you think you're aimed here and a bullet appears over there. That would jump out at you and be like, hey, like, I don't understand this relationship. Like, how is this happening? So the reason I don't like sit and harp on shot calling is it's sort of redundant. If you're doing a class or you're like training and you're doing whatever exercise you're doing to try to shoot better, part of that is trying to understand what's happening as it's happening so you can do the things better. You know what I mean? So I don't need to sit there and harp on shot calling because if you don't understand what's happening or why are these bullets going over here, like that would be something that that's what we're trying to work on. Like, yeah, shot calling, it's just like a redundant term. It doesn't make any sense to me why people are always talking, you got to call every shot. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. Like I'm trying to understand what's happening here and why it's happening and see faster and all that shit.
I feel like shot calling means different things to different people. So sometimes it's like you're trying to speak.
It's like follow through or alt right. It's just terms that are very hazy. So you're just best kind of staying away from them.
So it's like,
Depends on the skill level too.
Yeah, but it's like,
Yes,
hey, if
definitely.
you say shot calling, like, what are you talking about? Like, if somebody asked me that in a class, it'd be like, what are you specifically asking?
If
what
somebody,
do you think it means, you know?
if somebody asks about shot calling, there's a bunch of clarification that has to happen.
Like, I need to know more. Yeah.
Shot calling,
What do you
follow, like, what are the other ones? Follow through,
Surprise break, right?
surprise break. Yeah.
Seeing what you
Wait,
need to see, right?
Yeah.
see what you need to see, ride the reset, prep the trigger. There's just a lot of shit that people, and it's not that those ideas are stupid or wrong. It's just
No. Yeah.
it'll never be clear to me what exactly they mean just by using that term. And I'm not going to fill in the blanks for them. I'm going to ask to make sure I know what they mean.
Yes. Like, do I understand your question? What are you asking specifically about?
Yeah.
I don't call my shot every single time, for sure, especially close distance. Ben talked about feel a little bit.
No, but you're calling it by feel. You understand where it went, more or less.
So in my walkthrough, I'll make sure I align my body and my gun and my arms to the target. And like at about 3 yards, 5 yards, I don't often try to call my shot. I don't even care if I saw the red dot sometimes.
Yeah, but you're not trying to call it visually, but you'd still be trying to like understand where it went by other means.
Yes, with the feel.
Yes, this is exactly why I stay away from the term shot calling.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
it's like it's AIDS. It doesn't mean anything.
Matt talked about depends on the skill level too. So for people who shot for many years with a certain gun, like Ben himself, the ability to stop the gun precisely wherever you're looking. So basically, we call that index, right? So if you're able to stop your gun very precisely to the spot where you were looking at with the sight aligned, then do you really have to, shoot for front sight focus? If it's every single time absolutely perfect, precise, sights aligned on the spot you are looking at, then using the sight may not be as important, but your vision may be more important in that case. Where you're looking at on the target makes more difference. So even if you're looking at the target, you may have different focal depth. So because you're shooting target focus, people may think your focal depth don't change. It's just on the target. Yeah, target distance changes. So in order to see the alphabet A of the target from 5 yards or 20 yards, the focal depth is different. So if you are actually looking at the same focal depth that you see to the 5-yard target, and you see the same way to 20-yard target, you're not being as specific to where you're stopping the target, the gun on the target. So you got to be really specific on the spot where you want to stop the gun on the target. So some people think in terms of, hey, stop at the alphabet A or aim small, miss small. Those kind of things are all coming from the same concept. So at that case, if you have the ability to stop your arms gun accurately and sights aligned, then at that point the visual thing is more important. So you are able to shoot target focus or sometimes with eyes closed. It's not as consistent. That's why front sight focus and calling your shot is pretty important at that higher risk target. But lower risk targets, you do not have to shoot front sight focus every single time.
Well,
it's a skill, man. Yeah.
I like it.
All right. Well, look at that. 2 questions. A twofer. Listeners, if you have a question you'd like the answer to, go to bensticker.com. Send me your question, and we will happily discuss it. And we'll even be nice. And if we won't be nice, Joel will be nice at least. Matt probably won't be. Fucker.
Matt's always nice.
Matt, tell us that thing you wouldn't tell us before.
I don't know what we're talking about.
I don't even remember either.